What if I told you that there are people who literally don't feel pain, or that some children are born with the skin so fragile that any touch can cause wounds? Get ready to know the 10 most rare and most impressive genetic conditions in the world, some so extraordinary that they seem out of science fiction movies. Starting our list in 10th place, we have the Proteus syndrome, a condition that affects only 200 people worldwide. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that parts of your body are growing disproportionately. This is exactly what happens to those who have this syndrome. The name comes from Proteus, the Greek god who could change shape and could not be more appropriate. The condition causes excessive growth of skin, bones, and other tissues. But the most intriguing thing is that this growth is completely unpredictable. One arm can grow twice the size of the other. Benign tumors can arise anywhere on the body, and the skull can develop asymmetrical forms. Joseph Merrick, known as Elephant Man in the 19th century, probably had this syndrome. During his life, he was shown at aberrations, but he was an extremely intelligent and sensitive man who loved poetry. The most impressive, each case is unique. There are no two patients with the same deformities. It is as if DNA created a completely individual signature for each affected person. Scientists have found that the mutation happens in the AKT1 gene, but still cannot predict how it will manifest. Some patients have only small asymmetries, while others develop severe deformities that require multiple life surgeries. In the 9th position, we find something that seems impossible: people who can't produce tears. Riley-Day syndrome mainly affects Ashkenazi Jewish descendants, with only 600 documented cases in the world. But not crying is just the tip of the iceberg of this complex condition. These people also have difficulty regulating body temperature. They may have very high fever at a moment and hypothermia in the following. Their blood pressure is a constant roller coaster, rising and down without warning. But the most surprising is the reduced sensitivity to pain. Imagine don't know when you're hurting yourself. Children with Riley-Day often bite their tongue until they blue without realizing it, break bones and keep playing, or develop serious infections because they do not feel the symptoms. Parents need to do daily inspections on their children's body looking for injuries. It is a condition that makes us reflect on how even the things we consider bad, how to feel pain or cry, are actually essential protection mechanisms of our body. The mutation occurs in the IKB-CAP gene, and scientists are still trying to completely understand how a single genetic alteration can affect so many different systems from the body. In the 8th place, we have a condition that, although not fatal, can completely destroy a person's social life. Trimethylaminuria, known as fish odor syndrome, makes the body unable to process a substance called trimethylamine. The result? The person exudes a strong odor of rotten fish through sweat, urine, and breathing. No matter how many baths take, what toiletries use, or how much perfume applies, the smell persists and can be felt meters away. It only affects 1 in 200,000 people, but the psychological impact is absolutely devastating. Many develop severe depression, paralyzing social anxiety, and some even try to suicide. There is the documented case of a woman in England who was fired from 5 different jobs because of the odor, even though she was an excellent professional. She says that the worst is not the smell itself, but seeing the disgust on people's face, listening to the whispered comments, realizing that everyone walks away when you enter an environment. Some patients report that the odor worsens with stress, menstruation, or after eating certain foods such as fish, eggs, or beans. It is impressive as a single genetic mutation, a small failure in the production of an enzyme, can affect a person's quality of life and social relations so dramatically. Arriving in the 7th place, we find one of the most moving and scientifically fascinating conditions: progery, also known as Hutchinson-Gilford syndrome. Imagine aging 8 times faster than normal. Children with progery seem elderly even before they are 10 years old, and this is not a force of expression. With only about 400 known cases in the world, this genetic mutation brutally accelerates aging. Babies are seemingly normal, but around 18 months they begin to show alarming signs. Growth slows down dramatically, hair falls, the skin becomes thin and wrinkled, veins become visible all over the body. At 2, they already have typical signs of extreme old age. The most tragic is that as the body ages quickly, the mind remains chronological age. They are children attached to bodies of the elderly, fully aware of their condition. They develop arthritis, severe heart problems, spills. Life expectancy rarely exceeds 20 years, with most of dying of heart attacks or strokes, the same causes that kill 80-year-olds. Sam Burns was one of the best-known cases. Diagnosed at age 2, he became a motivational activist and speaker. Your motto was, "Don't focus on what you can't do, focus on what you can do." He died at 17, but left an inspiring legacy. The mutation occurs in the LMNA gene, which produces a protein called laminin A. Scientists are intensely studying it because understanding accelerated aging can teach us how to slow normal aging. In 6th position, we have the condition that inspired werewolves' legends for centuries: hypertrichosis. Only 50 cases have been documented since the Middle Ages. People with this syndrome develop extreme amounts of hair all over the body, including face, palms, and even in the eyelids. In the past, many have been displayed in circuses like wolf people or macaco men. Julia Pastrana, born in Mexico in 1834, is one of the most famous and tragic cases. She had hair covering the whole face and body and increased gums that made her teeth look bigger. It was displayed as the ugliest woman in the world throughout Europe. The saddest? She was an intelligent woman, spoke 3 languages, sang opera, and danced. But all people saw were the hair. Today we know that it is just a mutation that activates sleeping ancestral genes, making the body produce hair as our distant ancestors were millions of years ago. It is fascinating to think that we carry in our DNA traces of an evolutionary past that can be awakened by a simple mutation. Some scientists believe that studying hypertrichosis can help us better understand human evolution and even develop baldness treatments. Ironically, a condition of excess hair can teach you how to grow. And speaking of awakening, how about awakening that finger to like this video? If you are finding these conditions as fascinating as me, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. I promise the next 5 of the list to make you even more impressed. Come on, it's quick and helps me a lot to keep bringing incredible content to you. Returning to our count, in 5th place we have something straight out of a science fiction movie, literally blue people. Hereditary metahemoglobinemia was documented in just one family in Kentucky, the Fleet, which became known as Kentucky's Blue People. The story begins in 1820, when Martin Fugate, a French orphan with bluish skin, moved to Kentucky's isolated mountains. He married Elizabeth Smith, who by absurd genetic coincidence also carried the recessive gene. When both parents have the gene, there is a 25% chance for their children to be born blue, and were born, many of them. The condition makes the blood less ability to carry oxygen, resulting in a bluish skin color ranging from a slightly grayish tone to a deep blue, almost indigo. The most curious? They lived normally only with this peculiar tone. They had no significant health problems. Some lived until 80, 90 years old. During generations, geographical isolation and marriages between cousins kept the active gene in the family. In the 1960s, young Luna Fugate caused panic in the hospital when she gave birth to a dark blue baby. The doctors thought the child was dying suffocated, but the baby was perfectly healthy, only blue. That's when modern medicine finally found the Fleet. The treatment? Simple methylene blue injections. Ironically, a blue dye that paradoxically leaves blood red again. It is a fascinating reminder of how geographical isolation can preserve unique genetic characteristics for centuries. In 4th place, something many would consider a superpower, but which is actually a terrible curse: congenital insensitivity to pain with anheidosis. Less than 100 confirmed cases in the world. Never imagine, never feel any kind of physical pain. Does it look amazing? Think again. These people often die young people because they do not realize when they are injured. Ashlyn Blocker, one of the most studied patients, had to learn intellectually what other children learn instinctively. Her parents tell terrifying stories. At 2, she put her hand on the hot stove and only noticed when she smelled the burnt flesh, chewed his own language as if it were gum. He broke his ankle and continued to run. The school had to create special protocols for her. Every hour checks looking for injuries. Constant thermometers because it is not your anhidrosis also means absence of sweat. and may have fatal hyperthermia without realizing it. Imagine having to check intellectually if you are too hot, too cold, if you are injured, if you have eaten too much or less because your body simply does not send signs. The most fascinating thing is that these people feel pressure and touch, just do not feel pain. They can feel the affection of a hug, but not the pain of a cut. It is as if the nervous system had a very specific filter. The mutation occurs in the SCN9A gene, which encodes essential sodium channels for the transmission of pain signals. Pharmaceuticals invest millions studying these patients, hoping to develop revolutionary analgesics. The pain, however unpleasant, is literally what keeps us alive. We arrived at the podium. Thirdly, the condition that may have originated vampire legends. Congenital erythropoietic porphyria, also known as Gunther's disease, with less than 200 documented cases in the world. Symptoms seem out of a horror movie and perfectly explain how vampire myths were born. First, the extreme sensitivity to sunlight. It is not just discomfort. UV light causes painful blisters that can take hours to appear and weeks to heal. The skin literally burns and crumbles. Many patients have severe face and hand scars, the most exposed areas. Second, the blood-red urine that can stain your teeth, leaving them with reddish appearance or dark brown. Third, excessive hair growth to protect sensitive skin. Remember hypertrichosis? Some patients have both conditions. Fourth, gums portray, making teeth look bigger, like prey. And here comes the most sinister part. In the past, before we understand the condition, some doctors recommended that patients drink animal blood to replace the destroyed red cells. Imagine finding someone with all these symptoms in a medieval village, avoiding the sun, with prominent red teeth, possibly drinking blood by prescription. Today, patients need to live practically in the dark. Meet the case of Simon, diagnosed at 3 years. Your house has UV filters on all windows. It only comes out at night. And when absolutely necessary, it comes out during the day. We wear special clothes that cover every inch of skin, including gloves and mask. He says, "I'm not a vampire, but I live as one." The irony? Studying this condition is helping to develop skin cancer treatments, as you understand extreme photosensitivity can reveal how to protect the skin from UV damage. In second place, one of the most terrifying conditions that exist. Imagine your body slowly becoming a living statue. Progressive ossifying fibrodysplasia, affectionately called FOP by doctors, only affects 1 in 2 million people, about 800 confirmed cases worldwide. Any muscle trauma, a fall, a beat, an injection, even a very strong stretch, triggers a bizarre process where the damaged muscle does not regenerate but turns into bone. It is literally a second skeleton growing inside the body. The process is irreversible and cumulative. Whitney Weldon was diagnosed at age 9. Today, at 30, she can only move her thumbs, lips, and tongue. His body is fixed in a semi-seated position because his joints have solidified. She had to choose this position at age 20, knowing that she would be like this forever. "It was the hardest decision of my life," she says. "Choose how your body will be frozen by the rest of your existence." The most cruel. Any attempt to surgically remove the extra bone only accelerates the process. The trauma of surgery causes more ossification. Biopsies are impossible for the same reason. Even dental tests are dangerous because opening the mouth a lot can make the jaw lock permanently. But there is hope. In 2006, scientists discovered the responsible gene, ACVR1. It was the first time in history that a gene was discovered from only 5 affected families. Now, clinical trials are testing drugs that can stop ossification. For patients like Whitney, it may be too late to reverse the damage. But she says, "If my body becoming stone means future children will not have to go through it, then it was worth it." And finally, in first place, the most rare and scientifically most promising genetic condition in the world, Rarest syndrome, with only about 300 documented cases, mostly concentrated in a small remote village in southern Ecuador. Get ready for this. These people are virtually immune to cancer and type 2 diabetes. In over 30 years studying this population, Dr. Jaime Guevara, Aguirre, has documented 0 cancer cases and only 1 case of diabetes, statistically impossible in any other population. The story begins with Sephardic Jews who fled the Spanish Inquisition in the 16th century, carrying a mutation in the growth hormone receptor. Isolated in the Ecuador mountains for generations, marrying each other inadvertently created the largest group of people with Laron in the world, about 100 individuals in a tiny region. The mutation causes severe dwarfism. Adults rarely exceeds 1.20, but comes with an extraordinary genetic gift. Its bodies produce normal growth hormone, but cannot process it, resulting in extremely low IGF-1 levels, a growth-related protein, and cancer. Most impressive, when cells of these patients are exposed to toxins that cause laboratory cancer, they simply self-destroy rather than become cancerous. It is as if they have a perfect self-destruction system against cancer. Genetically modified rats to have Laron live 40% more than normal rats. If it applies to humans, people with Laron could live up to 120 years. But here is the cruel paradox. Despite the protection against cancer and diabetes, many die young people. Why? Alcoholism and accidents, discrimination and social isolation leads many to drink excessively. Their short stature makes them more vulnerable to accidents. It is a tragedy. They have the genetic key to cure cancer, but society treats them as aberrations. Pharmaceuticals are investing billions trying to replicate protective effects without dwarfism. Imagine a pill that would give you immunity to cancer. Some Laron patients are selling blood samples for research, finally having some financial benefit of their condition. And so we come to the end of our journey through the incredible world of rare genetic mutations. Each of these conditions teaches us something deep about fragility and at the same time the resilience of the human body. From the vital importance of pain as our silent guardian, to the potential hidden in seemingly devastating mutations. Think about it. We are all literally unique mutants. Each human being carries about 60 new mutations that his parents did not have. The difference is that most of them go unnoticed, working silently in our genetic backstage. But from time to time, one of these changes creates something extraordinary. Be a challenge that tests the limits of human resistance, or a gift that can revolutionize medicine. Human genetics is like a book of infinite pages written in a language that we only begin to decipher. Each rare condition is a chapter that teaches us something new about ourselves. Kentucky's blues show us how isolation preserves genetic diversity. Children with progery teach us about aging. Immunes to Ecuador cancer can keep the key to longevity. And perhaps the most important thing, each person living with these conditions teaches us about courage, adaptation, and what really means human being. They are not aberrations or medical curiosities. They are involuntary pioneers on the border of human genetics, paying with their bodies the price of knowledge that can save millions. If you have been fascinated like me with these amazing conditions, share this video with your friends. After all, knowledge about our own human nature is something everyone should have. And don't forget to subscribe to more amazing content about the amazing world of science. Until next time, and remember, being different is not a curse. It is what makes humanity extraordinary. Each mutation, each variation, each genetic peculiarity is another piece in the complex puzzle of what is human being. And who knows? Perhaps the next big medical discovery is hidden in the DNA of someone considered different today.